Why look, Yule logs. It must be December. Yes, I've been a busy beaver here. A couple weeks ago I got a permit from the city to cut down the 4 Oregon ashes here in the park strip that I'd planted 20 years ago, and then I'll be replanting with California buckeyes. So with our hotter, longer, drier summers, that's a more appropriate tree for here. So this is what the front yard looks like now in mid-December. The red flowering currant still has some leaves on it there in the foreground. Lots of poppy seedlings coming up here in the park strip. I also had one of the aspens I'd girdled. It died, of course, and then it tipped over in a windstorm a couple weeks ago, so it's been cut up. And again, just like with the ash trees, I try to keep most of the wood on site here to just slowly rot and return its nutrients instead of hauling it off to a composting facility. I've put the outdoor carpeting pieces down here on the boardwalk because the boardwalk gets slippery with algae in the winter time otherwise. So this is a really nice expansive candy flower here that's just coming up. It won't bloom until March, April, May. And oh yes, the tubs. So the begonias have all been removed. I've planted with tulip bulbs and then some native fringe cup and candy flower here. The wires just to keep squirrels from fooling around with the soil. There's an obnoxious airplane coming. That's the sound you hear in the distance here. So just a general view here of, you know, midwinter in the front. These are all foxgloves that I've transplanted here from excuse me, elsewhere in the garden. The winter jasmine has begun to bloom here. It's usually not peak bloom until sometime in January. Maybe I can get a close-up here of a couple flowers that are just starting to come out here. So it's not a fragrant jasmine, but it's a beautiful jasmine, and it blooms in the middle of winter. So here are my California buckeyes waiting to be planted. I still have a couple cabbages in this little protected area here. Here's my rain gauge. So yesterday, what, about 0.3 inches? That's good. Nice to have some rain again. Although we're still way, way, way below normal. And the view through the marionberry wreaths here. My rhubarb's all put to bed for the winter. And these are my 3 tubs of Belgian endive, which I dug a week or 10 days ago and put in here. And one by one I'll take these tubs inside and then have Belgian endive for dinner for a month or 6 weeks. And these tubs back here have been planted with bulbs too, and pansies and candyflower. And again, the mesh is over it to keep the squirrels out of it. I have my stockpile of neighborhood leaves here. I don't really need any leaves on site here. I generate enough of my own, but I just like to, for my whole block here, I keep the gutters open and haul the leaves here and use them around the yard. So I've opened up the little plastic house here to see how things look inside here. So cauliflower on the left, broccoli coming along in the middle. I've harvested a lot of the lettuce, chard here as well. Let's say good morning to the chickens. So hey, everybody's inside, come on out. So this is Floppy here coming out first, and there is Flighty And Feisty, hey. So in the middle of winter, these chickens had all stopped laying, and now here it is. Hello, Feisty. So Feisty and Flighty are laying again. Big red combs. Look at that. Sorry, Feisty. We'll close the door back up. And thank you for laying eggs. So they're almost 3 years old. They turned 3 in March. So as I think I showed last time, well, I didn't have this many beds covered yet, but I cover my beds with plastic in the winter time to keep the rain from leaching out the nutrients and compacting the soil. And just a close-up view here of Dame's Rocket and Foxglove and Candyflower. So this is the woodland garden that will just be a knockout April and May in 2019. So that's about it for December and for 2018. And here's a general view of the house. Solar panels on top. Currants in the foreground here. Nectarine tree with its flower buds all ready for next February. Anyway, now we have a year at Whitey's garden recorded here, and well, ready for next year. So it's been fun showing everybody around, and I look forward myself to looking back at these and seeing how the garden changes from one season to the next. Bye for now.